This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, and welcome to the dawn. Welcome here to Djuma Private Game Reserve, Sabi Sand Wildlife Reserve. My name is Steve, and I'm joined by Paul on camera, and we've got tracks up and down. And what I've been doing here is a female leopard track has come from there, and then she's also come from here. So I've walked up and down on the line, and I found where she steps on top of herself. You can't see it clearly, but here, for example, the one track going that way, the other track going that way. So the fresher one is going this way. So she came from Western Quarantine, she walked up here, and then walked back down again. She's walking straight underneath the car, and she rubbed her face up against that tree there. I don't know if you can see it very clearly. It's not easy in this early morning light, but female leopard tracks and hyena tracks everywhere. So we came up the road here. I didn't really notice it on the way. I think it was just a little bit still too misty. But we're going to go back and see who this could be. Who could it be? Up and down, up and down. Oof. Paul, how's that there? Is that a nice shot? It's already out. It's already out. Okay, so Nadine reckons it's a Kalamba day here. The tracks are on the right hand side of the road. So Trish is going to be checking towards the dam. She heard baboons going a little bit berserk. She said specifically 3:38 or something, because it woke her up. I didn't hear them. I sleep so soundly at night. So we're just going to check if she hasn't gone onto Galago or up onto Vuitalax. And we are on Vuitalax, up onto the quarantine area. But don't forget, everybody, this is a live and interactive. The tracks are there. Live and interactive game drive experience. Your questions and your comments are so super valuable to us, and we would love to hear from you. Now, I saw them from the car. Do you see them, Paul? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so she's going up Galago here. Where is she going to go to? Going straight. Okay, so we will follow these tracks because these are steaming and fresh. And, well, while we warm up a little bit as well, it's probably the colder morning we've had of late. We'll go check in with the weather and see what it actually temperature-wise.
I love this kind of morning. It is chilly, there's a lot of mist, the sunrise is just perfect. But it is going to heat up a little bit later. Look at that. Ooh, so special. Now Steve was right, there are tracks everywhere. Lots and lots and lots of hyena tracks. This morning I was, I don't know how, but I was woken up at 3:38 a.m. by the sound of baboons alarm calling. It's not like they were alarm calling really close to the room or anything like that, but it made me wonder if even humans are really attuned to the sounds of alarm calls to the point where it could wake you up. But I suppose Steve saying he had such a wonderful sound sleep throws that hypothesis completely out. Woo.
Here we go.
The big reveal. Hello, everyone. It's me, Trishala. I've got Gert on camera. I liked that reveal. I think we should do that all the time, Gert. And our plans, I think we're just going to kind of drive around. The alarm calls I heard were near the drainage by our rooms and possibly towards Gowrie Dam. So we're going to take a drive around that area. I mean, it's very likely that the alarm calls I heard were for the female that Steve has tracks for. And I mean, from 3:30 to 6:30, a lot could have had to happened. So we'll just have to see what happens. Happy Bet, you say it's going to be a fantastic bumble. I agree. It's going to be fantastic. These mornings are so special. Oh, look at that light. Absolutely stunning. We were just hoping that a mammal would come along and walk through this light, be beautifully silhouetted. But hey, some grasses and some spider webs do just fine too. And when we're on safari, it's about the small things as well as the big things. Oh, Luyanda. Hi, Luyanda is in the FC there, or MC, with Nadine. Luyanda said, this is beautiful. Thank you, Luyanda. We must get you here to Djuma sometime so you can see it in person. There's a lot of birds going as well. Even been hearing some squirrels alarm calling, but we know that's not terribly reliable. But it's a stunning morning. Anyway, I think we should get going.
Okay. I have to wipe the lens.
Gert is going to wipe the lens. Wipey, wipey. There we go. Nice. So when we went out, it was really chilly. But I think it's warming up really quickly, actually. I've got my little blankie for my legs. Just when we were doing checks. Steve said he had to go back to his room to maybe put some long pants on. And I decided I should go and grab my little blankie.
We should probably prepare to move fairly quickly.
Wild Earth presents Safari Spotlight, your front row seat to the wonders of the wild. Join our expert naturalists each week as they guide you on an unforgettable journey through the heart of nature.
Looks like this female came out here.
What a privilege to be here.
Subscribe to the Wild Earth YouTube channel and never miss a moment of the adventure. Wild Earth, connecting with nature.
Explore the untamed valleys and thickets with Ralph Kirsten.
Beautiful.
Or venture into the wild with Eric Barnard.
I will take you to my favorite place to show you my favorite animals, share the best stories, and you will definitely be able to watch the stars.
There are only 6 places available on each safari. For more information and to secure your seat, contact Wild Earth Travel.
Do you sometimes imagine what Wild Earth would be like without adverts? A chance to properly immerse yourself in nature without any interruptions. Sign up to be an explorer for a small monthly fee and you can truly escape into the wilderness. Ad-free viewing is now available on our app as well as on our website. Wild Earth, it's in your nature.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, the track's continuing up the road. I'm just at this junction now where either she's gone off already, but there was a track a little bit further down, or she's just veered off. We know that sometimes these cats walk on the middle path. It's hard to say. So we're just going to go straight to the boundary, which is just up here. And have a look if she's gone all the way there. I feel like I feel like we're right behind her. But that junction has eluded me. So we'll just quickly go to the boundary. And when we see tracks that are steaming, we get quite excited. But it's possible that she's veered in towards where the noises of the baboons were coming from a few hours ago. But I feel like these tracks might even be fresher than that. So sometimes along these hard patches, everybody, it's hard to see. But we get a nice little softish soil patch, and then we can see again. And there's nothing over here. Ooh. These nice sandy patches. It's very hard for a cat to get past a double sandy patch like this. So, a hyena. Annalie, you're happy to be on the Sunrise Safari with everyone. We're happy to have you on board. Okay, so there's nothing here. Now, they stick to the roads for a fair bit of time, everybody. They really do, but when they go off-road, it can be rather challenging. And that's when alarm calls are very helpful. An alarm call can be very, very helpful. The most reliable alarm callers: baboons, monkeys, kudu, bushbuck, nyala. Impala, for the most part, can be quite reliable. And birds come and go. You've got to sort of, you got to really think about the birds. When you think about how many predators they have. Okay, we're nearly at our boundary here with Buffelshoek. It's a nice open sort of sandy patch. If she'd come all this way, we'll have a track. Okay, so this lovely road was dragged yesterday or the day before by hippo's calling, by a tractor. It makes for very nice tracking if you see my footprints. No one can get across these without you seeing them. So the buffalo came across here, duiker. But if she walked across this section here, it would be quite easy to see. White-tailed mongoose. It would be quite easy to see. The vehicle is moving. The vehicle is just locking itself in there. Ah, what a beautiful day. And there's a nice tree right here next to us. Many of you have probably seen this tree before, but let's kick off the viewers this morning with a little quiz. Let's see who can tell us who this plant is. Let's see if anybody can tell us what tree this is. It's got green leaves. It's got this thorn over here, the double spine. Leonardo, you want to know if you can tell if the threat's coming from the ground or from the air? Well, the squirrel's got a very nice alarm call that immediately you know there's a bird of prey coming. You can almost hear that alarm call and look out your window, look somewhere, and there comes a bird of prey. So 100%. When it comes to squirrels doing their normal alarm call, that's generally something is on the ground, but it could be a snake, could be a mongoose, could be a leopard. Impala don't alarm call. Most of our antelope species don't alarm call for aerial predators. And then our birds on the ground, guinea fowl and francolin, their alarm calls are the same for a leopard as they are for an eagle. But when you find them, if they hunkered under the bush, then it's probably a bird of prey. If they're sitting on top of a branch or in a tree, then it's probably a predator on the ground. Other than that, the call, I wouldn't be able to tell you any different for spurfowl, francolin, and guinea fowl. The alarm call is very similar, whether it's up or down. Okay, so we've seen many of these trees around. We talk about them all the time, but when we find them small like this, it's one of the things I often find people struggle to identify small trees that aren't very mature. Lead is not a knobthorn at all. Knobthorns have got very small leaves and they've got very sharp hooked thorns. This guy has got this very interesting long thorn with a double spine on it. It's not always like that, but a lot of the time we get this double spine. Sometimes it's just one, and the thorns are actually quite green. But no, not a buffalo thorn either. The buffalo thorns have got a red thorn, one forward and one hooked. The buffalo thorn have got a red thorn hooked, and they've got a very shiny leaf. These leaves actually are coming in a pair. I'm going to try and grab one off without hurting myself. They actually grow in a pair like this. Quite large leaves. Knobthorns are compound, and you find a few of them on the leaflet and with a double hooked thorn underneath. The buffalo thorn has got one long straight leaf, very shiny and very tasty. Picky is not an apple leaf. Apple leaves do not have thorns. They do not have thorns. I think I've got everybody quite stumped in this early morning. I think it's maybe a bit early and the coffee hasn't quite yet kicked in. If you saw this as an adult tree, everybody, you would immediately know what it is. We normally have them tall and fluted stems, and Brent Leo Smith fell out of one many years ago. It is the one and only torchwood, also known as the green thorn. Very easy to see when we look at this branch over here with that double spine or thorn and the leaves growing off of it. Green thorn, torchwood, balanites. Okay, everybody's awake now. Is everybody up and at 'em? Apple leaves, no thorns at all. Knobthorns, very different design. And buffalo thorn, also very, very different. So a giraffe would love this tree, and a giraffe would love most of the trees that you've listed. And well, Trishala's got a giraffe. Let's go see what he's doing.
Well, I'm not awake yet, Steve. Maybe you can send something my way too to help me wake up. But we are really happy that you all have been woken up by a quiz. This giraffe indeed would love a tree of any sort, including the types that would ordinarily be a little toxic to the rest. And we're just very happy that we actually could get the giraffe on camera first time round. Unlike yesterday when the giraffes were just didn't want the attention. I mean, we all get like that sometimes, don't we? I'm just going to pull my binoculars out. So this giraffe is really close to Gari Dam at the moment. And this area is close to the drainage, so lots of the trees here are still beautiful and green. I just want to have a look at what tree the giraffe is actually eating. There's a really nice tambuti grove here. Oh, Nadine says there's been quite a few giraffes around this area. In fact, yesterday is probably... okay, no, it's not. But recently, it's the most giraffes I've seen on Juma in a long time. But I remember seeing, I think there were 12 or 13 giraffes in the Mulwati, just chilling. A couple of them necking. But that was a good 3 or 4 years ago. For me, this is the perfect way to start the morning. If I were a giraffe, that is. You're tall enough for the sun to hit you before anybody else. You can warm up your head, even though your body still has to wait. You can reach nice leaves, get a snack, water close by if you need it. Very nice. Now, I said that there is a tambuti grove in this area, in fact, very close to where the giraffe is. I can see some of the smaller ones further into the block, further towards the drainage, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what he's eating. And yesterday we were discussing, I had a really nice question about if a predator eats the stomach contents of an animal that's been eating a toxic plant, would it affect them? And we were talking about tambuti and giraffes particularly because they eat tambuti plants or tambuti trees. And tambutis have a toxic latex that they produce. Anyway, I stumbled upon something just by chance last night when I was reading this book. I can show it to you, which I found in room 4. I was reading this book just because I enjoy... Is this the right thing to say early in the morning, Gert? I enjoy reading about poisons. I enjoy reading about poisons. Gert says it doesn't surprise him. Anyway, and I came across this one sentence that spoke specifically about animals that eat toxic plants and how ruminants, because remember a giraffe is the largest ruminant in the...
We have an exciting announcement. Wild Earth is launching a YouTube membership program. For a nominal monthly fee, members get an ad-free channel, prioritized questions, early access to videos, and many more perks. You'll get fun features like badges and emojis that'll make you stand out in the chat. YouTube memberships will help us to continue with our mission of connecting people with nature while giving you access to lots of our amazing content.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Discover the magic of Africa with Wild Earth Travel. From a big cat safari to a jungle trek with gorillas, picture yourself floating down the Zambezi River or witnessing the breathtaking wildebeest migration. At Wild Earth Travel, we turn your bucket list into reality. Don't just dream it, live it. Plan your incredible life-changing journey with Wild Earth Travel today. Did you know that the Wild Earth team makes weekly behind the safari content? Would you like to get to know the Wild Earth family better? See how we live.
This is Igor's bedroom.
Learn about our production process. And see the antics that happen off camera. Sign up to be an explorer and you will get access to all this content and more.
He's just moved behind the bush right here. Still looking at me through the bush though. Anna Marie, I agree. You say it's nice to start the drive with a peaceful browsing giraffe. It really is. We promise the giraffe is there. He hasn't moved off, he's just popped his head down. But because he's quite close to the vehicle, if I start up now, he's going to get a bit of a fright. So we're just going to wait it out. If that's okay with you, Giraffe. Seems like he's okay with it, but he's definitely still staring through the leaves here. Dark Mane Lover, I agree. He is stunning. Ooh, I'm sorry, I don't think you would have seen that, but I just saw this, like, you know when it's really cold outside and you breathe out? I saw that from the giraffe's nostrils. Kind of steam moving off the nose. Very sweet. I mean, I don't want to spook him. He's still staring right at me. Oh, I see some more steam. He's been quite comfortable. And I think one of the important things is maintaining a level when you speak. Oh, there, he's starting to move. Let's move forward a little bit. If we maintain a good level when we speak and we're not trying to be extra quiet, it just kind of gets them used to it as well. There we go. Sometimes if you remain too quiet, then when you do start the vehicle, it's an extra shock. But by continuing to speak at the same level, they know that something is there. And so the sound is not as big of a shock. I wonder if you can hear the stripping of the leaves. So special. I kind of like that its ears are slightly, or at least they were slightly pointing downwards, like a puppy. There we go. Giraffes, like many herbivores, only have incisors and canines, so those the front portion of your teeth. They've only got them in the bottom jaw. At the top, it's just a dental plate. But they do have molars and premolars to chew all that foliage. But at the top and the front, it's just a dental plate, which is great to grind things against. If you've ever used a mortar and pestle, you know that it's really easy if you have a flat surface to grind something against. Darkbane Lover, you think he's waiting for me to offer him some coffee? He's gonna have to ask Gert. I don't travel with coffee, but Gert travels with a whole flask. Anyway, let's keep on moving towards the dam, and I'm gonna send you over to Steve and see what's the update on those tracks.
Thanks, Trish. Well, nothing really small. It's quite an intricate and a dangerous looking tree. So just before someone had suggested maybe that last tree was a buffalo thorn, this is a buffalo thorn. The buffalo thorn's got that very interesting canopy. If you have a look at it, it's almost drooping as it goes down. But if St. Paul gets close in on the stems, you notice the stems are very red and the thorns are red. There's a straight thorn and a hooked thorn. And that is designed in the effect of trying to prevent herbivores from stripping the leaves. Giraffes manage still, but a lot of other animals have to really go about it very carefully, trying to access leaves from a tree like this. Buffalo thorn, very, very delicious tree, but if you try to pluck the leaves, there's always the difficulty of hurting yourself. Now, Taylor McCurdy and myself did a pick-off, a harvest, years ago, where in a minute we saw who could pick the most leaves and then eat them. And we were both bleeding afterwards. Basically, this tree has the ability to move and mobilize anti-feedant chemicals. So when it's not being fed upon, everything is relaxed and everything is in a slow state, and it's got the thorns there. As soon as an animal comes along and starts damaging, pucking, the tree goes do warning signals, and it starts to mobilize those anti-feedant chemicals. It starts to push them out to the extremities of the tree to protect it from being fed upon excessively. Trees want to be fed upon to a degree, but not overly. And the buffalo thorn goes to the extreme in the fact that it's got delicious leaves and it's got the straight and the hooked thorn. So an animal can't just come and strip, although the giraffe seems to do so. But I think the giraffe more plucks around. Now, trying to get my face in there, it's a very dangerous plant, everybody. And the Ziziphus mucronata, the buffalo thorn, is a tree that, is very hard to tangle with. And they call it a buffalo thorn, probably because when they first saw lions hunting a buffalo, the first explorers, the buffalo would push its bottom into this tree and go, "Come on, lions, come on." It's very hard to get behind a lion or buffalo when he's got his bottom in here, because it's a very, if I just take the
This is On Safari.
Get ready for an adventure of a lifetime. Wild Earth Travel is proud to launch a brand new grand tour. Backed by popular demand, join us for an unforgettable experience where you'll meet Wild Earth presenters from past and present, participate in an exclusive rhino conservation project, and even take a masterclass in wildlife filming. And of course, you'll get up close and personal with your favorite animal characters. Book your spot now and dive into the wild with Wild Earth Travel. Stay up to date with the latest happenings at Wild Earth. Discover what goes on behind the scenes and get a weekly recap of the best moments on the channel.
He's got it! And he's straight up a tree!
Sign up to be an explorer and receive our newsletter written just for you and sent straight to your inbox every week. Wild Earth Explorers, a club for people who are passionate about nature.
Thank you for joining us and have a fantastic morning.
That coffee that we were going to share with the giraffe, instead we gave it to the spoonbill. So the spoonbill is losing his morning mind. If you're not sure what you're looking at, the spoonbill is hunting. And the way they hunt is they wade through the water and then move their bills from side to side, and then snap them shut as soon as they detect any kind of movement. Now in my mind I feel like this is not the best strategy, moving this quickly, because then your potential prey can tell that something's coming. But I have seen them do this before, but most often when I see them hunt, they take it a lot slower. I feel like I want to put music to this. We didn't have any morning music this morning. Oh, exactly. Nadine says he's running late. He's got things to do. Yeah, he should have been eating by 7 a.m. Instead, he still hasn't caught anything. Oh. Almost got something there. So we're at Gowrie Dam at the moment. Lots of birds around. Rachie, absolutely, you say the spoonbill is hyperactive because of too much coffee. Kind of like me sometimes. But what I think is actually happening here is there might be quite an abundance of invertebrates in the area. That spot that he's actually moving in. Because if he wasn't able to detect them either with his eyesight or by movement along his bill, he would move much more slowly and pay more attention. But it's almost as if there's so much, and we can see him snapping his bill every now and then. And there's been, oh, there we go. There's been times when I've watched a spoonbill with its bill open, moving through, and it not snapping at once. So I think there's actually abundance of some kind of invertebrate there that's causing him to move erratically, try and get as many opportunities as possible. Nadine, if you could just repeat the question I got, it was from the real Shamwari. But oh, you said how many steps does he have already? I think that was it. Well, incidentally, the real Shamwari, I like to count my steps when I'm here at Djuma because inevitably you move around more than you would if you were at home. And I still think that the spoonbill's getting way more steps in than I am. Just in that 1.5 meters, that was about 10 steps.
Africam brings the wild to you. Watch the Big 5 at our waterhole cameras. Indulge your passion for birding with the black eagles on the Black Eagle camera, flamingos at Camphors Dam, and penguins at Stony Point. Listen to the soothing sounds of Lisbon Falls, or witness animals up close at Cat Pan. Imagine you're at the hide at Aldonio Lodge, gazing at elephants with the majestic Mount Kilimanjaro as your backdrop. Join us at Africam for an extraordinary wildlife adventure.
Explore the untamed valleys and thickets with Ralph Kirsten.
Beautiful.
Or venture into the wild with Eric Barnard.
I will take you to my favorite places, show you my favorite animals, share the best stories, and you'll definitely be able to watch the stars.
There are only 6 places available on each safari. For more information and to secure your seat, contact Wild Earth Travel.
All aboard the SS Wild Earth for 3 nights of oceanic exploration. Trishada Naidu will be your trusty captain.
Just take that in for a moment.
As we delve deep into the blue abyss. Explorers and YouTube members, grab your wetsuits, snorkels and goggles and jump aboard for commotion in the ocean.
Well, welcome back live, everybody. You see there's a little bit of a scuff mark on the ground over here. And Paul would go, "Hey, there's a nyoga there." Which basically means there's a snake there. But it's not that fresh. Just grabbed a really long piece of grass. Okay, so can you see this disturbance here? This is a snake of a very decent size moving across the road. But a dove has walked through, or that could be a starling. That looks like a dove to me, has walked through, which means that the doves are diurnal. So there's probably this morning. Over there, though, there's a genet track. Genets are nocturnal, as we know, and there's a couple of insects that have moved through. But what's happened is the snake has come down, and it's pushed. So the snake direction, you can see this side how it's smooth. And Paul, can you see how smooth it is there? Okay, it's not pushing the soil that way, but it's pushing the soil this way. And if you look there, it's pushing the soil that way. And if you look here, it's pushing the soil there, it's pushing the soil there. So the snake came and moved, it was going in that direction. And then slowly but surely at the back was just a little tip of the tail as it followed. So as the body moved, the body slid, slowly at the back came the tail. So this was a big snake. When it pushes this much soil, you've got to just imagine, or it was moving at such a speed that it slid across the ground. But this kind of serpentine-like motion is a very common snake motion, employed by mambas, cobras, pythons. So we get the 3 different type of snake motions. We get the serpentine, which is the S shape. We get the rectilinear, which is very common with puff adders, where they just sort of move in a straight line like this. You've probably seen it. Their muscles just move. Rectilinear. We get pythons that do that as well. But when they want to move, all those snakes can do this as well, to move very quickly. Moving in the serpentine fashion is the quickest way to go. And then there's the third type, which we don't see here in South Africa. It's called the side winding, where a snake uses its body hits the ground, and then it lifts up and it lifts up and it lifts up. It's side winding snakes we find in the desert. So you'll often find a track that kind of looks like this, because the snake has been hitting the ground, lifting, so not to have any contact with the soil, because it's incredibly hot. Cade, can I tell if it's a male or female? I can't. Not from this, but big snake. So there's a nice big portion, and there's a much narrower portion. So I'm guessing it was just moving very quickly here, and then it narrowed, and off in that direction it went. But last night, before the genet and before the dove. Very nice. How cool. So Judy H has just confirmed for me that the marula, the bark of the marula, has anti-inflammatory properties. I know it's got antihistamine properties in the bark. It's got many things to do with the digestive system, with the skin, with health and well-being, and anti-inflammatory. So there we go. I can't remember who asked me that question, but the marula, one of the most magnificent medicinal plants we have out and about. And as we noticed yesterday, the elephants were just munching away at that marula tree, because there's so many benefits in the plant itself and in the medicine. Okay, so we've come around towards Gallagher Pan here. We were stopped in our tracks by this lovely snake track, and we're just seeing if there's any activity of a female leopard coming through. Catherine, I'm glad you like these kind of segments. We're going to be getting a cable which is going to extend to our camera there, and then the cameraman's going to be able to get off, and we're going to be able to walk and be not far from the car, but get right in and close and personal. And then I'm excited. I'm going to start doing my field observations again, if you recall those, whereby we would do lots of tracks and signs, and then go through like a little bit of an examination of tracks and signs, which I know many of you used to really enjoy. It's a nice way of testing one's knowledge. I used to do them on the bushwalk all the time. So the marula, here is a marula tree, and we know that most plants' medicine comes about in the bark or the roots, and this marula tree, as with most of the marulas we find around, have got nice thick bark, and many animals will feed on the bark itself. The fruit is very well known to be used by a wide variety of animals. We will eat it as well. We can make lovely marula beer out of them. The leaves are very good for indigestion. The bark and roots are used for stomach problems, diarrhea, dysentery. It can be used for fever, peptic ulcers, and for coughs. Root infusions, antiemetic. There's antimalarial properties, headache prevention, infertility, and has been used in the treatment of diabetes. And as with most plants in Africa, there seems to be some form of aphrodisiac in the root as well. The bark sap is an antihistamine. If I had to gouge into the bark there, you get this very red blood-like liquid that comes out, and you apply that to a bite or a sting or a stinging nettle injury, and it alleviates the pain immediately. Through scientific studies, they've tested infusions of the leaf, and they've proven them to have hypoglycemic effects, which are very useful in the treatment of diabetes. Decoctions as well, assisting with low blood sugar. And as we know, the fruits are very high in vitamin C. We can make a very nice beer and a very nice jelly. And the nuts, when we get them, are very edible, very high levels of protein, and can be used as an insecticide. And we know that the squirrels are loving the marula trees or the marula nuts that are littered around the landscape, being deposited by the bottoms of the elephants. Okay, you can hear the black-collared barbet duetting in the background. Some people will say they're saying two poodle, two poodle, two poodle. It's a duet between the male and the female. And I can hear the somber greenbill calling here. Afrikaans called the gewone willie. He's been quite vocal lately, the gewone willie. Gewone means basically the common willie, because he's going willie. Don't worry, Nadine. So many of the people I've taken on walks, when they hear about their Afrikaans, when they hear about the Afrikaans name of a bird, they sometimes are surprised because of the simplicity sometimes of the names and sometimes the complexity of the names. Just listen for a moment to the sounds of the wilderness waking up.
We've just stopped here at one of my favorite trees on Djuma. It's a jackalberry, and you get to know the trees really well. Well, basically all the futures on a property that you spend a lot of time on. And this is the first time ever I have seen a community nest spider's nest on this tree. So high up. There could be hundreds, maybe even thousands in that little nest. Unfortunately, we won't see them today. And yes, it is unfortunate because when they stream out, it is like something out of a horror movie. Gosh, I think I was with you that time on Central. We had the one nest and the spiders were streaming out just before or just after sunset. So the sunset colors were right behind it and the spiders were silhouetted and creeping along the outside kind of anchor points. Very cool. But now they're probably all in there, bundled up, keeping warm. It's too early for them. They're nocturnal. I love these nests. And I love community nest spiders. I think they're really, really interesting. We don't ever think of spiders as social animals. Not at all. I mean, some people don't really even think of spiders as animals, but anything in the animal kingdom is an animal. And spiders are just amazing. There's only about 13 species of social spiders in the whole world. Not very many. Maybe it's 24, but definitely a small number. They would have all turned in from the evening, just chilling there. Maybe we'll see them come out in the evening. Hi, EJ. You'd like to know if animals are less active when it's colder. It depends on the animal. Definitely reptiles are going to be less active when it's colder, but a lot of animals are more active when it's cold. There's variation in temperature during the day as well, not just in the climate, so moving in from summer to winter or anything like that. Just variations in the day, you can see differences in activity. Those crepuscular animals are those animals that are most active around dawn and dusk, which also happens to be quite cool points in the day. Crepuscular animals are things like leopards. Nocturnal animals obviously have to do well when it's cool, because they're out when the sun has already gone away. And then many animals take advantage of the coolness. Can we show everybody what I thought was a leopard? So many animals, look at that, from a distance I thought there was a leopard sitting, and it was the head looking at us. And clearly it is not. Thank you, Nadine. Nadine says Nadine says she can kind of see it when she's not wearing her glasses. Well, I am wearing my contacts, but I mean, it's really far. I'm looking at it like how you're looking now, from this distance. But just to finish up that conversation, many animals take advantage of cooler portions of the day, not only because they expend a lot of energy and are going to kind of overheat. That's a very simplified version of what it is. But overheat in the heat of the day, and it's just too much to compensate for. They take advantage of the nice cool evenings and mornings. But also if we listen to all the birds that are twittering at the moment, they're taking advantage of the cool air right now as well. As you know, hot air rises, and so sound moves through the air, and if the hot air is rising, it means it takes the sound and it pushes it up into the atmosphere. So then your call will take a lot longer to, well, not a lot longer, the call basically won't reach very far. But when the air is cool, that sound can travel further because the air on the ground is not rising all the way really high. So it can go further. So lots of animals take advantage of different times of the day because of temperature. But our community nest spiders, they're strictly nocturnal. I don't think they care what temperature it is. Anyway, let me send you over to Steve. He's got a very cool tree to show you.
Well, thanks, Trish. And well, just to jump back onto the topic of trees that we had this morning, another option that was given when I was showing the torch was apple leaf. This is, in fact, apple leaf tree. And you can actually see how large the leaves are. And if I actually break off a leaf for you and show you the entirety of a leaf, they're very commonly fed upon like this by insects. But the apple leaf has got this peripinnate leaf, imperipinnate. So it is a compound leaf, and it's not just one singular leaf like that. This is actually the entire leaf over here. But there's been lots of insect attack, and this tree's, I wonder if any of you know what the other name is of this tree. I'll tell you. Is called the rain tree, apple leaf tree, And I'm going to demonstrate in my hat why it's called apple leaf tree. Now, I want you all to just close your eyes. I don't know if it's going to work very well in the morning, moist, but I want you to all close your eyes and listen and tell me what this sounds like. Did you hear that, Impo?
Yeah.
What did it sound like to you? You can open your eyes now. Did it sound like a crunching of an apple? Well, apparently that's where it gets the name from. Apparently, chewy, chewy. So the apple leaf tree gets hammered by insects. Most animals don't really eat it. Giraffe will feed on it. Elephants will feed on the bark. But there's a poison actually in the roots. There's a red substance that can be extricated from the roots, which Trish will love because it's actually a poison used for stupefying fish. So we could access the roots here, get that red rotenin out of the roots, and then you put it into a little pan. It'll stupefy the fish, which basically means it knocks them out, doesn't kill them, and doesn't poison the meat, so they are still edible. So that's been well used as fish poison in the past. But the tree, the reason it gets the name rain tree, and I haven't really seen it, but there are aphids that tap into this tree, and they've got very special mouth parts, and able to tap into the moisture in the plant, and then they pull out so much moisture that they end up, just comes out of them, and they dribble, and they dribble, and they drain, they drop moisture on the floor. It's not something I've come across a lot. I see it in the weeping wattle a fair bit, but not so much in these trees, but it's well known to happen with the rain tree, the apple leaf tree. But you can see the tree has been eaten by insects. And we talk about how insects can change the vigor and influence the vigor of a tree. Have a look at this. It's being eaten alive. It's still going to survive, but it's not very healthy, is it? It's sort of trying to go sailing in the ocean with only a third of your sail. You're not going to do very well, or with patches everywhere. There's lots of influence happening here due to the fact that there's a lot of insect attack. But a tree that's synonymous with low-lying areas, very well water-loved, and these trees actually indicate water table. Okay, apparently here in local cultures, it's very bad luck to chop this tree down. But in Botswana, they chop this tree down and they make mokoros. They make canoes out of this tree. So one culture, it's bad luck. Another one, we make canoes and go canoeing through hippos. You decide which one you would like to do and stick with it. Okay, the apple leaf, Phalaenoptera. Violacea, because it's got this beautiful violet purple flower. So Nadine says going through tiny little makoros in Botswana is a little bit scary. Most definitely is a little bit scary. And where are we in the landscape? We're right down here on the low-lying area. The quarries are here. The river is just over here that feeds Gowrie Dam. That's where you'll find your apple leaf trees. They don't occur up on the top of the landscape, always down on the bottom. Very good. With the leadwoods, the quarries, the jackalberries. Appelblaar in Afrikaans for you out there, Afrikaans viewers. Appelblaar. Some fresh ellie dung here. Clint from the Vaal wants to know who's got bigger calf muscles, me or Mpo. Clint from the Vaal, and Paul is immediately saying me. He doesn't even question. I'm not sure. You think so, Paul? Yeah. And Paul's obviously already ascertained this, Clint from the Vaal. Immediately. But if it comes to guns, well, Mpo is double-barreled, eh? There's no comparison there. I think both of my arms might fit still comfortably into one of Mpo's arms. Okay, so we haven't had any luck with any tracks there, but here's another junction. We're going to just stop and jump out here. Trish, yeah, says there's nothing comparing to Gert calves. I don't know if any of you ever met Jean-Ray. Jean-Ray was a cameraman here, and I swear he had an orbit around each of his calf muscles. He had his own planetary solar system around each calf muscle. I don't even know. As hyenas, it's not the easiest junction, this one. But we love to check junctions, everybody. It is the highway. That's where the traffic goes. Lovely bird calls this morning. Red-faced mouse birds, Cape turtle dove or ringneck dove, crested barbet, greater blue-eared starling, emerald spotted wood dove, well, Trish, I think, is just down over there. I don't think she's had any luck with any tracks. We're going to carry on along here to the boundary again one more time. Meantime, let's send you over to her.
We had a nice view of some kudu. There we go. And we have driven over either some wild basil. Oh, no, it's sage, dwarf sage. Oh, it smells so good. So good. And that's the only reward we got from stopping here, because the kudu moved away very quickly. And we passed this really beautiful, huge kudu bull, probably the nicest one we've seen in a long time. He's all the way at the edge there. Gert's gonna try and get him. Oh, there he is. He's moving actually in the opposite direction of the ladies. Isn't he beautiful? His horns are quite impressive. Like I said, I haven't seen a nice big bull like this in a long time. And he was very close to us at one point, but then he decided he was going to move in the complete opposite direction. The kudus we had on this side actually looked like a tiny little breeding herd. Just a few adult females and a few calves. And so when we first bumped into him at the end of that road there, we were trying to direct him towards the females by pointing, because that's how we direct animals to things. And he didn't get it. But then when we got here to see the actual little herd, I see that there's a lot of calves with the herd as well. So maybe he's not so interested in these females right now. Male kudus are sometimes solitary, but a lot of the time they're close to a small breeding herd with females and a couple offspring. But these herds are, maybe 5, maybe 8. I haven't really seen kudu herds much better than that, and much bigger than that. Off he goes. Kudu life in terms of bonds and responsibility is very chilled. Everyone just does their thing. Our females and the little ones have also moved into the block, out of our sight. Thanks, guys. Linda, you say beautiful horns on him. He really did have some beautiful horns. But the kudu have all left now. It's been quite a slow morning, and I must admit it's it's still lovely. Sorry, I'm just going to take off one layer. It's starting to warm up now. Oh no. I'm attached by a wire, which is why I'm awkward.
Join the Wild Earth YouTube superfan community and unlock a world of additional perks. Get exclusive early access or discounts to Wild Earth travel deals. Wear the best bush attire with merchandising discounts. Enjoy an interactive live monthly private safari. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan experience. Join the YouTube superfan community today. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Discover the magic of Africa with Wild Earth Travel. From a big cat safari to a jungle trek with gorillas, picture yourself floating down the Zambezi River or witnessing the breathtaking wildebeest migration. At Wild Earth Travel, we turn your bucket list into reality. Don't just dream it, live it. Plan your incredible life-changing journey with Wild Earth Travel today. Chatting around a fire is an ancient practice that has connected humanity for centuries, and we want to keep it alive in our modern age. As an explorer, you'll have access to intimate gatherings with our naturalists, fascinating guests, and experts where we share knowledge, insights, and stories around a crackling fire. Rediscover the power of connection. Sign up to be an explorer today and experience the magic of Wild Earth's fireside chats.
Over to Gari Dam. So much has been happening there, but how about you go and have a look as well? We have found a lovely herd of elephants. So sweet, they're all around us. And this is probably the largest herd I've seen since I've been back. Not that I've been back a whole lot. I've only been back for a couple of days. But I've seen quite a few small herds, you know, just one female, maybe an adolescent calf and a younger calf. This is a very nice big herd. And I can see them all at the edge here on the right. These two calves are not tiny, tiny. I think this might be the same herd that Steve had yesterday. Sorry, I'm just gonna stay quiet because the birds are so close to us and calling. Just a lovely moment. I think happiest in the bush when I get to spend time with elephants. And I hope that, much like Steve yesterday, struggling to get away from the elephants because they were being so active and all around him and he was having the best time ever. That's when I'm at my happiest in the bush, with that same experience, when elephants are all around, super comfortable with you, calves are playing. And I don't want to set high expectations, I mean for myself, but there's elephants next to me on the right, there's those on the left, there's some more in the bush here. Hopefully they all emerge and surround me and say, "Welcome back, Tishala." At least in my head, that's what they'll say. Nadine's on fire this morning. She says she agrees, but I feel like she held something back before that because she said so, laughing. Oh my goodness. Okay, do it, Nadine. Nadine says she's got an elephant joke for us, everyone. Oh, Nadine, I know this one, but I'll say it anyway. Nadine says, what do you call an elephant that doesn't matter? Irrelevant? Oh, Nadine. Oh, out you come. Sorry, I'm swinging you all the way around that. This guy is right here. Hello, you. While elephants prefer the most juicy portion of plants and grasses, they can tolerate the dry stuff too. But I've seen them more often go for dried grasses than they do for dried leaves. During the wet season, grasses make up the majority of their diet, whereas during the dry season, they most often go for leaves. Oh, and you're showing us that you can do it both, can't you? Yeah, we knew that was coming. Trying to distract us, girl. Sorry if you're hearing scratches. Trying to swat some flies. So what do we have on the menu today? Oh, looks like we're eating some common spike thorn there. Very nice. A young spike thorn that she's taking advantage of. Younger trees, plants, even younger fruit tend to have a greater buildup of not exactly poisons, but things that could be not so tasty, things like tannins. Some of them do have a lot more buildup of particularly toxic things like cyanide. Hello. Trunk up in the air, giving us a salute. Hello. I think more will start to filter through from this side. So when we see young trees, particularly I see it with the spike thorns, towards the end they look a lot more red. And the same.
We should probably prepare to move fairly quickly.
Wild Earth presents Safari Spotlight, your front row seat to the wonders of the wild. Join our expert naturalists each week as they guide you on an unforgettable journey through the heart of nature.
Looks like this female came out here.
What a privilege to be here.
Subscribe to the Wild Earth YouTube channel and never miss a moment of the adventure. Wild Earth, connecting with nature. Get ready for an adventure of a lifetime. Wild Earth Travel is proud to launch a brand new grand tour. Backed by popular demand, join us for an unforgettable experience where you'll meet Wild Earth presenters from past and present, participate in an exclusive rhino conservation project, and even take a masterclass in wildlife filming. And of course, you'll get up close and personal with your favorite animal characters. Book your spot now and dive into the wild with Wild Earth Travel. Are you looking to take your bond with the wild to the next level? Download our app and access in-depth chats with our naturalists and special guests. Connect and converse in real time on our Ask Me Anythings, fireside chats, hangouts, and town halls. WeChat, available on the Wild Earth app. Wild Earth, we are Safari.
Softer part of your skin, maybe the inside of your wrist. Rub it over there. Again, does it blister, does it rash? If the answer is no, okay, let's have a try. Is it bitter? It's not bitter. If any of these are false, then or if any of these are, if it blisters at any of those stages, milk your latex, and if it's bitter, don't eat it. It's pretty much all seed. There's really not much in there. There's really not much to go by. I wouldn't say that that's the most enjoyable thing I've ever had in my life. But here is actually what's quite nice. You can see the flower transition to the fruit. You see that the flower obviously did its thing. And there's the carpels, the leaves breaking away from what would be the flower. So the plant is in a very strange state at the moment. We've got this out-of-season rain, and a lot of our plants are flowering and fruiting. And they're like going, what's going on? But they're doing it, and I'm not sure. Maybe one of you out there can tell me which spike thorn this is. It's most certainly a spike thorn. We can tell that by the stem, the cluster of leaves at the base here, and then this spiky thorn over here, which is actually a spine, because there are leaves growing off of it as well, which makes this a spine rather than a thorn. But the name can always be rather confusing.
They're so relaxed, so chilled out. This one gave us a little bit of some attitude. It was very scary. I mean, look at those tusks. So intimidating. And that little furry belly. Or hairy belly. The intimidating hairy belly. We don't actually have a good visual of any of the ellies right now, but they're all around us, so we're just waiting. That's the best thing. There's another one coming out. Kind of feels a little like, as you wait for the next item to come through. Well, I'm waiting for you to come through. Yes, I know you see us. This is just the perfect spot. So what's on your menu today? Ray, you say, oh, look at those little tusks. Shame that one really did have little tusks. This one has slightly longer tusks, just a tad. Oh, we're mostly going for grasses. There's a really nice round leaf teak there, right next to the ellie. Elephants love round leaf teaks. Absolutely obliterate them. I wonder if this guy will have a go at it too. Oh, that was a nice trunk full of grass there. Lots of green bits. Yes, lots of green bits. I'm actually surprised at how much green there still is, particularly in the grasses. Hi, you want to come right over and say hello? Hi. Yeah. Nice. Very gentle eyes, very soft. She's going behind us now. That literally felt like, I just want to have a closer look. everyone is very, very calm. Now he's just, she's just standing there behind us. Came up to us, it was really just to see us. Did nothing, didn't react. The best elephant sightings are the ones where you just park and the elephants come to you. You decide whether, or they decide rather, whether they actually want to see you. You don't force your way in. And then you get a really relaxed elephant sighting. Because they've been seeing you for some time before they actually come close. And they want to come close to investigate. Nakey, I agree with you. The elephants this week have been so soothing. I mean, I've only been here for about 3 days. Oh, my goodness, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble, everyone. Hello. Are you here to give us some attitude? Oh. You can do a lot of damage. Yes. Oh. But see, this little one's reaction is causing the one behind us to react too. But now she's calmed down. Maybe she told this little one, hey, they're all right. So cute. It was like he growled and burped at the same time. Oh, how's this backward kick? What are you doing? That was such a frustrated youngster kind of kick. Yeah, have some round leaf teak. Yeah, she's coming to check on him. It's all good, man. It's all good. They're not too bad. But she was so attentive. Stuck in bed, I'll do that for you. Hello, lovely Ellies. All of you, Stuck in Bed says hello. I can't guarantee a response, Stuck in Bed, but I did forward your message. That's also true. Nadine says maybe they're responding to you in their low frequency. So we just can't hear the response. That's all, Stuck in Bed. They were communicating in their very low frequency, saying hello back, Stuck in Bed. Low frequency doesn't mean they talk in slow motion, though. It just feels right. Now, after reading, well, I didn't finish the Poisonous Plants book, but I got about halfway through last night. And considering the amount of poisons that there are out there in nature, just sitting there, and the complexity of them, and the amount of herbivores, I'm surprised there are not more deaths, quite honestly, just from eating or coming across these plants. But a lot of them work on quantity, because there's such a fine balance between how much is needed to be browsed or grazed. Ooh, someone was angry there. Something tells me that little one that was giving us trouble started giving somebody else trouble there. Maybe that was your response, Stuck in Bed. So when animals or herbivores are consuming plants, sometimes a certain amount of consumption is necessary. Sometimes seeds and fruits passing through the gut of a herbivore can help with the germination process, like with elephants. So there is a fine line around how much can be eaten and when it gets just too much. Now with trees, that's a very fine line. With grasses, it's a little bit more flexible because grasses grow from the bottom up, like our hair, from the roots out, whereas trees grow from the ends further out. So if animals are continuing to overbrowse trees, they're basically clipping off those growth points. But with grasses, they need browsing so they can continue to grow from the bottom and that their own mass doesn't fall over themselves. So there's a really close relationship between grasses and grazers. And in the evolutionary scale of things, grasses are fairly new to the plant scene. Now with trees have had to develop a lot of defenses. And the first kind of defense are things like thorns and spikes, things that are likely to have developed in really arid areas and then kind of moved through and evolved further into poisons and all the like. Anyway, it looks like, or I heard, I think, that Steve's also got some elephants. Oh, it's a good morning. Let me send you over.
Well, just in time for a couple little baby elephants there. Let's just move up a little. It's a lovely little herd here, moving through the upland woodlands of this bush willow woodland. Now the tracks of that female leopard came into this block from the other side. So we saw these ellies on the other side and we thought, oh well, maybe the elephants will guide us to her. That does happen, has happened before. And if we don't get guided to her by them, well, we'll spend.
We have an exciting announcement. Wild Earth is launching a YouTube membership program. For a nominal monthly fee, members get an ad-free channel, prioritized questions, early access to videos, and many more perks. You'll get fun features like badges and emojis that'll make you stand out in the chat. YouTube memberships will help us to continue with our mission of connecting people with nature while giving you access to lots of our amazing content.
Explore the untamed valleys and thickets with Ralph Kirsten.
Beautiful.
Or venture into the wild with Eric Barnard.
I will take you to my favorite places, show you my favorite animals, share the best stories, and you'll definitely be able to watch the stars.
There are only 6 places available on each safari. For more information and to secure your seat, contact Wild Earth Travel.
Thank you for joining us and have a fantastic morning.
Did you miss all that? Never fear, you won't have to miss another beat on Wild Earth again with our Catch-Ups channel, where you can rewatch missed safaris and shows whenever you please. Only available on the Wild Earth app.
Thank you for joining us and have a fantastic morning. Here come the two more youngsters to join the one. Pangolins galore. It's so nice, isn't it? And what can you see, everybody? There's three little youngsters sort of out on their own there. Obviously the adults are close by. And another youngster there. So you immediately know everybody's very relaxed. Okay. Those little babies would not be inquisitive, would not be moving around on their own if the herd was not relaxed to what's going on around them, and that means us. Whatever else is happening. Very, very important point to make. Chin spot Battis just here. Oh, he's got... Sorry, Paul. Nearly threw you under the bus there. Okay, we're just going to go around this bush and maybe get another view of them. It's definitely warming up. And a nice fresh morning. Claire, we're just to do what we do. Truly blessed, truly lucky. Just going to stop here with this youngster. And all around us here. So there's a lot of browsing happening now, and we'll see lots of bark being stripped, and we'll start seeing lots of roots being dug up by our elephants. There's still a fair bit of nutrients in the grass still, but I think it's that time now. Elephants sort of know it's coming to winter. They'll start accessing the nutrients the way we used to, even though there's still a fair bit of green grass around. This disturbance that they create is very natural, and they're moving. They move through the landscape. Not every tree is being affected, and the balance between the grass layer and the tree layer, as Trish was talking about, very, very important. And elephants maintain the structure. Change the structure. Picky, I'm not sure of a false knobthorn. We get many false thorns, but I don't know of a false knobthorn. False thorns are all actually of the Albizia grouping. They all look like acacias, but they are not. And the knobthorn has got the largest leaves of the acacia, and all of the knobthorns have got hooked thorns. A double hooked thorn. So I'm not sure of a false knobthorn. I think you might be thinking of false thorns, which there's a number of species. The false thorns are also regarded as worm bark. Many of them have got lots and lots of medicinal properties in the bark. They can be quite toxic to livestock, but as the name worm bark implies, they are generally very good at deworming. Lots of animals will actually feed on the bark itself to remove themselves of internal parasites. We've got two more over here. There's a big individual came from the back and pushed this youngster out of the way. It was doing a wonderful job of trying to dig up some roots. And the big one behind, which I thought was a male initially, I realize now it's a big female, decided, no, I'm going to feed there. And what does this one do? Act submissive by turning its shoulder. Very typical. So the easiest way, Picky, of determining whether an acacia or a false thorn or a thorn tree is to observe it. Don't stick your hand in. But if there are thorns, we get the two different types. We get the straight thorned acacias and we get the hook thorned acacias, and then you get the umbrella thorn, which has got both. Many of you know that I don't like the change that was made and the removal of the name acacia. If you've heard of that before. The acacias have now apparently been claimed by Australia, and South Africa is not allowed to use the word acacia anymore. But the acacias in Australia, everybody, do not have insect chemically driven plants. And there are no thorns, and the name acacia means in Latin to bear thorns. So have that, Australia. And the first acacia described by a naturalist was Acacia nilotica, and that was on the African continent, which means South Africa should hold the name acacia, which means to bear thorns. Hence the name Acacia tortilis, subspecies heterocarpa, because carpa is thorn, in acaria for thorns. Heterocarpa meaning two types of thorns. The Acacia tortilis is the only acacia you'll come across that's got both hooked and straight, similar to what we saw in the buffalo thorn, except the buffalo thorn's just got one hooked and one straight, and they're red, and the leaves are simple, whereas all acacias have got compound leaves, which means finely divided leaves, and they've either got white or black hooked thorns or straight white thorns, or the umbrella thorn has got both. But these elephants, they don't care about the thorns. They just munch, munch, munch the thorns of the acacia trees, as do the giraffe. Okay, well, it sounds like Trish has moved on from her elephants, so let's go see where she finds herself now.
I have just taken a little detour to investigate the quarry. Now, where's the road coming out? There it is. I really like having a look at the quarries. There's two on Djuma. Just because it cuts into the earth so nicely that sometimes you can see pretty cool layers. I always go there in the hopes of, well, I'll show you from afar what the quarry looks like. So there we go. Now Buffelshoek cut line, which is our northern boundary, is just behind the quarry. So how many times do you think we've driven past and there were animals down here? So always try and have a look, but mostly I come here to hopefully find a fossil. But they are not deep enough to find anything, and I don't think the type of sand is good enough for for fossils. It's just basically granitic soils, just more compact granitic soils, so there's no like shales or anything there. Yes, Nadine, of course I was looking for fossils. I'm so sorry that I actually didn't bring my little collection of random Trishala things that work really well when we're quiet, you know, when there isn't much going on. It also adds some variation of lots of different types of rocks. All very cool things.
This is On Safari.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Discover the magic of Africa with Wild Earth Travel. From a big cat safari to a jungle trek with gorillas, picture yourself floating down the Zambezi River or witnessing the breathtaking wildebeest migration. At Wild Earth Travel, we turn your bucket list into reality. Don't just dream it, live it. Plan your incredible life-changing journey with Wild Earth Travel today. Not everyone gets excited to hear a leopard chuff, spot a pangolin, or see a real impala rut. But if you are wild about the wild, you can become part of a community of like-minded nature lovers and share authentic wildlife experiences with the world. Join the Explorers Club and you will also enjoy the many benefits that come with it too. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Very calculated, very nice and slow. This is what you would usually expect from wading birds. Nice, tall legs, long necks, because they don't want to cause too much movement in the water. They don't want to upset things too much because they need to find prey. And in order to do that, they need to surprise them. So that spoonbill earlier may have just been trying a different strategy. But this is the usual pace I expect when I see wading birds hunting. Got a blacksmith lapwing at the back there. Pretty much usual suspects to find along the dam in this area. Now there are fish in this dam. Tilapia, catfish, also frogs, all things that this heron would love. Hopefully it'll catch something. I don't see any hippos. Actually, let's just pull out the binos. Where? There's a croc here. I've seen a croc here once.
I don't know. I don't see the croc.
We're gonna have a good look around because Gert said that there was a crocodile around here. Crocodiles can be really good at blending in to the edges. Oh, Nadine says that the crocodile may have gone into Buffalo's Hook last week sometime. That's a shame. The buffalo have been around here though. On the other side I saw some dung patties. Sorry, you're gonna hear some shuffling as I just swing around so you can have a better look. Nope, no sign of the croc. Well, that's a shame, but also, I suppose, good for the crocodile. Up in Buffalo's Hook, property north of us, there's some pretty impressive waterholes. Probably better for a crocodile.
Maybe ate all the fish here and then moved on.
That's also possible. Could have eaten all the fish and moved on. Oh, excuse me, Lenny. That's exactly what I look for as well. Lenny wanted to know if there are any nesting birds in the quarry wall, and I did see some holes. And once, when I'd gone down into the quarry, I did see carmine bee eaters. Yes. Definitely a good place to have a look in the summer. Right now, not going to get many nesters, just in general. But in the summer, that's a great spot to look at. The banks of many areas, in fact, even the banks around here, around the waterhole, although that's a little less useful because birds, non-water birds, that is, so bee eaters are not really going to want to have their nests just above the water. What if a chick, what if they're starting to fledge? You don't want it to fall right into the water. Like there's a nice little bank there. But in the quarry, you can still see the disused nests, the old nests. Oh, it's really heating up nicely now. Another great place to look, Lenny, is in the Mulwati, the dry riverbed that runs through Djuma. And some areas, the banks are really nice and high and very stable. That's a good spot. In the meantime, the heron has not moved. So still. I've been wondering, in fact, watching the spoonbill earlier, it moved through patches of sunlight and patches of shade. So I was thinking to myself, it's probably more difficult to be hunting using your vision in the sun than it would be in the shade. I mean, if you've ever tried to look at a screen or your camera monitor in the sun, it's really difficult, and you always shade it. And it's because the light reflects off that surface. So I think it would be a little difficult for the heron, and possibly for the spoonbill as well. Earlier, the sun wasn't as high in the sky. But then I began to think about bird vision. And birds have really, really good vision. They can even see into the ultraviolet spectrum. Potentially that could help them with the sun. But being able to see polarized light is probably really helpful, because then you can see exactly where the light is bouncing off, and you can avoid that because you wouldn't be able to see in those spots. But then if we think of night herons, or black herons, sorry, that cover themselves when they hunt with a canopy, makes me think that it is very useful to hunt in shaded areas compared to sunny areas. But clearly it isn't a big problem, otherwise we'd see a concentration of hunting water birds in shaded areas, which we don't see. We see them pretty much anywhere. So it's obviously not that big of a problem, and that they compensate for it sufficiently with their vision. But they're also not only using their vision, they're also using tactile sense. They're using senses in their feet as well as on their beak, tactile receptors to tell them what's going on. Waterholes are just a hub of activity, and it's in these spaces that you also see different senses play out really, really nicely. These animals that live in and around them use so many senses all at once to get to know their environment and to thrive in it. Anyway, how about we send you over to have a clip about waterholes, or to look at a clip about waterholes and just how important they are in the environment.
Waterholes are nature's gathering points for friend and foe. Families and friends converge and reunite. Others seek relief from the midday heat. water for their offspring. Some must drink daily. Some get thirsty after a large meal. Murky water can be camouflaged. A source of food. And sometimes safety. At the height of the dry season, waterholes are a source of vital moisture and frequently terror. Whatever the season, waterholes provide a sense of peace, wonder, and wilderness entertainment.
Yes, everyone, well, water is the currency of life. We've spoken about that countless times, and even just small little muddy wallows like this one are integral for the survival of many of our species. Now, the seasonal rain has come and gone, and we're not essentially expecting rain, but these little pans, these little puddles, they occur with rainfall. And where are they? But down in the low-lying areas of the landscape. You can hear the magpie shrikes calling. The low-lying areas of the landscape. And you can essentially see that the soil over here has been removed. Now, how has it been removed? The clay content that is occurring inside these little mud wallows gets picked up by animals on their body and taken away. And this could have started off as a small little hollow in the ground, and then it's just gotten bigger and bigger. But where are we here? You can actually see the landscape goes up and up and up. We're right down at the bottom. So all of the nutrients, all of the salts, all of the clay gets washed down to the bottom. And that's why our water points, gravity is always at the bottom of the hill. Water points at the bottom of the hill. There's accumulation of clay, and that's actually what holds the water in place. Without the clay, the water would just dissipate, as it does up on the top of the landscape. It just comes through and into the water table. But the ground where I am here, at the side, is quite hard. You can see there's a little bit of vegetation growing, and where the vegetation is growing, the soil is a little bit higher over here. So what happens is, because the nutrients come down to the bottom of the slope, this is an area of high nutrient quality, and so animals come down and they feed on these areas. And what happens essentially is that the vegetation gets removed, and once the vegetation has been removed, you get this overexposed area, which leads to erosion. And when it's hard like this, very hard for anything to reestablish. So we're going to quickly send you to Trish, because she's got Ellies on their way down to drink.
Oh, we were going to woo you. It can still be special. Look at that reflection. A surprise nonetheless, and a fabulous one at that. And these are not the same elephants we had earlier. We're quite far from that space. Oh, and that fallen over tree is a torchwood tree. We once had a picnic under that tree before it collapsed. And that cow just went and investigated it a little bit. So remember earlier I was telling you that I've been seeing lots of smaller herds. This is exactly what I mean. A female and two of her offsprings. Oh, goodness, can't speak. Two of her offspring. Her latest calf. And it.
Africam brings the wild to you. Watch the big 5 at our waterhole cameras. Indulge your passion for birding with the black eagles on the Black Eagle camera, flamingos at Camphor's Dam, and penguins at Stony Point. Listen to the soothing sounds of Lisbon Falls, or witness animals up close at Cat Pan. Imagine you're at the hide at Aldonio Lodge, gazing at elephants with the majestic Mount Kilimanjaro as your backdrop. Join us at Africam for an extraordinary wildlife adventure.
Get ready for an adventure of a lifetime. Wild Earth Travel is proud to launch a brand new grand tour. Backed by popular demand, join us for an unforgettable experience where you'll meet Wild Earth presenters from past and present, participate in an exclusive rhino conservation project, and even take a masterclass in wildlife filming. And of course, you'll get up close and personal with your favorite animal characters. Book your spot now and dive into the wild with Wild Earth Travel. Do you sometimes imagine what Wild Earth would be like without adverts? A chance to properly immerse yourself in nature without any interruptions. Sign up to be an explorer for a small monthly fee and you can truly escape into the wilderness. Ad-free viewing is now available on our app as well as on our website. Wild Earth, it's in your nature.
Shame that black-spit lapwing flew in and just got or what can I call it? The previous offspring's attention. A slightly bigger calf. It feels like my mum taking my brother and I to get a juice. That's what this feels like. Definitely it would have been my brother chasing the lapwings around. At that age. I was a very quiet, small child. And then my brother and I swapped. So now it would be me chasing the lapwings. Judy, you say it's such a nice scene. It really is. A warm, soft scene. I might take another water sample from here, once the elephants move off, of course, so that we can go on and look for water bears or tardigrades or moss piglets, whatever you'd like to call them. We started looking yesterday after Puma Konkala was asking where we could find tardigrades in the Sabi Sand. So we went around collecting some samples. I think I'm going to collect a sample here from Buffelshoek Dam 2, and then during on safari this afternoon we can have a look under the microscope and see if we can spot any. They are the cutest microscopic animals ever. If you don't know what a tardigrade is or a water bear, Google it, because they are just so cute. And I have no books that have a picture of a tardigrade in it. Not surprising. Not the general thing you would find in any bush-related books. What were you chirping there, Nadine? Nadine said she just Googled tardigrade, and it's something she didn't want to see. Nadine, only you would think that that's not cute. All having a chat now. Still after their drink, maybe they're communicating with another herd. Maybe they're communicating with each other. When the conversation's over, you'll suddenly see movement. Cindy Lou, you say elephants are your spirit animal. You learned so much from them. I think they're many people's spirit animals, and I think we learn a lot from them. Even just, I don't know, not something that's tangible, but being in their presence, you seem to learn a lot about them, in not a book way, just a feeling way. The bigger youngsters trying to figure out whether it's more interested in the conversation that's being happening or that blacksmith lapwing that is obviously challenging him. Or her, I should say. Will it be challenge accepted? No, conversation is way too interesting. The littlest calf got interested in the fork-tailed drongo that flew by. I often see elephants flick their trunks at birds, but I've never seen one actually get hit. But I was on drive when one got hit by an elephant's trunk. I think it was with Taylor, and it was a starling that got whacked by an elephant's trunk, unfortunately. Yes, what are you smelling? Trunk up in the air. Looks a bit unruly, the way it's moving about. Come on, I mean, that blacksmith lapwing was challenging you. It was trying to be the bigger animal, which of course it is. Just decided to walk away. That's generally the better thing to do. That's also true. When it comes to intensity and tenacity, black-spit lapwings are likely to win, regardless of the size of its challenger. Ooh, I can actually see a little bit of heat haze now. The heat rising off the ground and making the air look all funny.
Join the Wild Earth YouTube superfan community and unlock a world of additional perks. Get exclusive early access or discounts to Wild Earth travel deals. Wear the best bush attire with merchandising discounts. Enjoy an interactive live monthly private safari. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan experience. Join the YouTube superfan community today.
Explore the untamed valleys and thickets with Ralph Kirsten.
Beautiful.
Or venture into the wild with Eric Barnard.
I will take you to my favorite places, show you my favorite animals, share the best stories, and you'll definitely be able to watch the stars.
There are only 6 places available on each safari. For more information and to secure your seat, contact Wild Earth Travel.
Did you know that the Wild Earth team makes weekly behind the safari content? Would you like to get to know the Wild Earth family better? See how we live.
This is Igor's bedroom.
Learn about our production process. And see the antics that happen off camera. Sign up to be an explorer and you will get access to all this content and more.
A slow little cruise down the hill here. We're going to stop at this junction and I'm going to show you a plant that I harvested. Give you an idea. Obviously it would be nice to have the comparison, but it's easy enough to know the difference because, well, I'll explain in a moment. Just want to cruise down the hill so that we can change the angle of the light. And show you this tree. First of all, everybody knows what tree this is. We started the show with the same tree, but most of you didn't manage to guess it. But when it is large and in this form, have a look at the stem, have a look at the large buttressed sort of fluted stem of the torchwood, the balanites. I find sometimes many people find it easy to identify adult trees and they struggle with the little babies. Well, the babies shouldn't be too difficult to identify because, well, end of the day, the leaves are the leaves. It's like finding a baby rabbit and not knowing that it's a baby, not knowing it's a rabbit because It's not big. It's the same sort of thing. You've got to look at the small characteristic features, which will tell you exactly what's going on. Okay, so now I've got two plants over here that do often get confusticated. Now, we were asked a question about false thorns, or the question was false knob thorn, but I don't know of a false knob thorn, so I'm guessing that was a false thorn. So, false thorn here, one of the Albizia species, or worm cure or worm bark trees. Now, notice the leaves are very fine, very small leaves. That entire thing is a leaf, which is then divided twice. So all acacias indeed have the same leaf structure. So do the Albizias, the worm cures. The leaf is, this would be an entire leaf, and then they're broken into little leaflets, and then each leaflet is divided again into little pinnae. So we call this twice divided compound leaf. Okay, so if you came to me with just this, I would be able to say, okay, I'm not sure. It could be a couple of things. Because if you grabbed a leaf off of this tree and you brought it to me, you'd think that they are very, very similar. Let me just drop this one. They're very similar, aren't they? Both have got the exact same leaf structure, although the small pinnae are a little bit smaller in this one on my right-hand side. So you need more information. You can't just come with one leaf and think you're going to get all the information. What else do we need? Okay, so I've got a branch, and on the branch here you'll notice that we've got the leaves are coming off, and they're sort of alternating as they go up the stem over here. They're alternating, and there's no thorns. I don't feel any thorns, any spines, any sharp, sticky-like protuberances on there, whereas any acacia, where the leaf is growing, right here where the leaf is growing, you'd have either a hook thorn or a straight thorn coming out. These wouldn't be growing off of the thorns, they would be growing at the base of the thorns. So the thorns would be coming out right over here. As you can see, there's another leaf coming out, where essentially there should be a thorn if this was an acacia. Okay, notice it coming off of the stem, and there's no thorns. So it looks like a thorn tree, but it's not, it's a false thorn. Marula, Linda, you can only tell a marula by the bark. Well, there's some learning to be had. Now, what tree is this over here? Now, if I try and grab a branch off of here, it's going to be a little bit tricky. Ow. Okay. Now notice again, how are the leaves growing off? We can see that there's a couple over there. We notice that there's this sharp stick over there, and there's leaves growing off of that stick. Can you see that, Paul? Okay. They're not growing from the base of that stick. There's no white or straight thorns coming out from the base. It's actually a stem which is incredibly sharp. Incredibly sharp. Now, in my opinion, the only tree that you should confuse this false thorn with is this one over here, which is not even a thorn tree either. This is the sickle bush. And the sickle bush is easily identified by these very sharp spines, which are strong enough to go straight through your tire, straight through your shoe, straight through a tractor tire, and the leaf is very similar. Now, as with the acacias and with these, they are also legumes. So they do produce a bean pod, and the bean pod is a characteristic feature for all legumes, and most legumes are able to fix nitrogen in the soil. So when we come across a tree with what we call fine-leafed arrangement, we generally regard them as quite nutrient-rich, we regard them as being quite palatable, and we regard them as having their own ability to generally create nutrients out of the atmosphere with nitrogen-fixing bacteria. So the sickle bush and the false thorn. You wouldn't confuse a knob thorn because the leaves are very different, but I'll try to find one. And you wouldn't be able to do this with a knob thorn at all. You would bleed profusely. Not very sticky, and tricky, and thorny, and uncomfortable to touch. And if you ever tackle with a knobthorn, you will bleed. It doesn't matter how delicate you are, you will bleed. It's just the way it works. But probably the most magnificent torchwood on the property, that's the one that Brent Lea Smith fell out years ago. Jess, age 13, how do animals know the difference? Well, they probably taste different. And one will have thorns and one won't. So, you know, the worm barks are palatable and they are fed upon, but there's lots of medicine in the bark. The bark is filled with medicine. I don't think they're as nutrient rich as the acacias. I could be mistaken. But how do they know? Well, I suppose you stick your face in it with your lips and you'll know if it's got thorns or not. It's like, how do you know the difference between an apple and a pear? There's a smell difference, right? And if that's what you do for a living, you eat leaves, you'll learn which ones taste good and which ones don't. And end of the day, the name false thorn was derived by us. The animals don't look at it and go, oh, you're a false thorn. They eat it or they don't eat it. They break it down or they don't break it down. They've got very different names for these trees. Do they even call them trees? Well, there's a discussion all on its own. Probably not. So Linda said she could tell a marula by the bark. We've got this small marula here, and we've got a marula at the back there. But one thing I want to help you with identifying a marula is also looking at the end of the stems. The end of the stems, the end of the branches are thick, almost like little pinkies. So the marula leaves grow at the end of those branches. And when the tree is alive, you can see the leaves growing off of the end of the branches. And when the tree has lost its leaves, you'll notice those thick branches standing out. False marula, when you see a false marula or you see any other tree out here once it's lost its leaves, the ends of the branches are very narrow, very thin. They're not big and thick like that of the marula, which is easy to identify. It's almost succulent-y, the leaves. And as Linda was saying, the bark is easy to identify because it looks like someone's been hitting golf balls. Looks like golf balls have been hit off of there. Anna Marie, the sickle bush is indeed the Chinese lantern. A beautiful little flower that dangles down. Very, very pretty. I think it's also commonly known as the Chinese lantern, if I'm not mistaken. Very pretty flower. One of the prettiest flowers we find out here. And this marula is just a bit smaller than the others, so it's lost its leaves already. So it doesn't have access to the water table. It'll get there. No, Dominique, you've fallen into a buffalo thorn. You can confirm it's not a fun experience. Well, Nadine, the director, was here recently and she said she got whacked by one in the face. 15 stitches. I'm joking. She didn't say anything about stitches, but it could lead to stitches. Yeah, they are not fun trees to tackle with. It caught you in your hair. Well, that's lucky. Dominique, I hope you didn't injure yourself too badly. You know, those are trees you've got to avoid, the trees you've got to learn very quickly. You don't want to put your tracker into one of them. You don't want to put your guests into one of them if you're driving around. People aren't very fond of being pulled out of their seat. I was following Hukumuri once, the male leopard, and I was in low range, and I was following him through the bush, and a buffalo thorn grabbed me on my knee. And basically, when you're in low range, the car just pulls forward. There's no acceleration, there's nothing. It just goes. And the buffalo thorn grabbed me on my knee and pulled my foot off of the brake, away from being able to do anything underneath. And I nearly got pulled out of the car. Thankfully, the buffalo thorns get to a point where they break. Thankfully. Otherwise, would have been a different story. Years ago, when I was training students in southern Botswana in Mashatu, we had an American lady driving and one of the students on the front on the tracker seat. And I was talking to you earlier about the what do you call it? About the umbrella thorn. And the umbrella thorn's got a straight and hooked thorn, and he was looking, and the umbrella thorn caught him here in the mouth and ripped him off the chair. Ow. I don't think that was very pleasant. But over here we've got a small acacia, which is not the knob thorn, but this is the black monkey thorn.
We should probably prepare to move fairly quickly.
Wild Earth presents Safari Spotlight, your front row seat to the wonders of the wild. Join our expert naturalists each week as they guide you on an unforgettable journey through the heart of nature.
Looks like this female came out here.
What a privilege to be here.
Subscribe to the Wild Earth YouTube channel and never miss a moment of the adventure. Wild Earth, connecting with nature. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Discover the magic of Africa with Wild Earth Travel. From a big cat safari to a jungle trek with gorillas, picture yourself floating down the Zambezi River or witnessing the breathtaking wildebeest migration. At Wild Earth Travel, we turn your bucket list into reality. Don't just dream it, live it. Plan your incredible life-changing journey with Wild Earth Travel today. Stay up to date with the latest happenings at Wild Earth. Discover what goes on behind the scenes and get a weekly recap of the best moments on the channel.
He's got it! And he's straight up a tree!
Sign up to be an explorer and receive our newsletter written just for you and sent straight to your inbox every week. Wild Earth Explorers, a club for people who are passionate about nature.
Thank you for joining us and have a fantastic morning.
We are watching this space because there are 3 elephants that are just in the bush there, and we wanted to give them some space so that they would be able to walk past us if they wanted to, which is why we're parked like this and why we can't actually see them right now, but they should pop out around there. Of course they could surprise us and then, you know, we've been duped, but they're definitely there. But like we said earlier with the elephants, it's always nicer to kind of sit and wait than to drive into them. So that's when you get the really nice sightings with the elephants. I'm seeing movement through the bush. And these are different elephants to the ones we had at Buffelshoek Dam. This one has also 3 of them, but the calf here is much tinier. There we go, hooray! Can you see that grey blob? I think they will come this way. It only makes sense. Buffelshoek Dam is behind us. If I were an elephant, I'd want to go have a drink there too. Oh, please excuse my scratching of the cap. I'm just taking a spider off of it. Hello, Spidey. There you go.
We have an exciting announcement. Wild Earth is launching a YouTube membership program. For a nominal monthly fee, members get an ad-free channel, prioritized questions, early access to videos, and many more perks. You'll get fun features like badges and emojis that'll make you stand out in the chat. YouTube memberships will help us to continue with our mission of connecting people with nature while giving you access to lots of our amazing content.
Get ready for an adventure of a lifetime. Wild Earth Travel is proud to launch a brand new grand tour. Backed by popular demand, join us for an unforgettable experience where you'll meet Wild Earth presenters from past and present, participate in an exclusive rhino conservation project, and even take a masterclass in wildlife filming. And of course, you'll get up close and personal with your favorite animal characters. Book your spot now and dive into the wild with Wild Earth Travel.
All aboard the SS Wild Earth for 3 nights of oceanic exploration. Trishala Naidu will be your trusty captain.
Just take that in for a moment.
As we delve deep into the blue abyss. Explorers and YouTube members, grab your wetsuits, snorkels and goggles and jump aboard for commotion in the ocean.
They would have heard us for some time. Oh, there's 4 here actually. That little baby is barely the height of this grass. Now they're going where we were parked. Linda, you'd like to know what is the reason for these small herds? I don't know. I don't know if it's just a single herd that's more spread out than usual. I don't know if it's because it's easier to take care of a smaller herd and resources are getting scarce because it's winter, but it's not something we saw last winter. Ah, hello. There's that Tiny. Hello, Tiny. No. Oh. Very cute. This dry season has been particularly dry. The last dry season, there were late rains that kind of came through in autumn that made the dry season not so dry. And this year we haven't really had that, so it's a proper dry season. Maybe it just makes things easier to manage if they're in smaller herds. But this is all speculation. I have no other idea why that could be. Let's do a reverse safari. Good. Oh, they're very nice and comfortable. Oh, sorry, I have the back seats in it. But I don't want to get too close. Pangolins galore, yes indeed, a teeny tiny baby Ellie with lots of beans. What have you been eating? What is going on? Careful you don't get whacked by your mum's tail. The trunk looks like a little noodle when they're small like that. Alright, once they move out of our sight here, we're going to have to turn around. Which is what we'll do now, and then we'll maybe drive off to Buffelshoek Dam again. See if they pop up. They'll be walking alongside us just now. Somehow I feel that they're not going to make it to Buffelshoek Dam by the time our time is up. So maybe we'll just stick with them here. This little one is so full of energy. If you see something moving quickly and erratically, it's that little baby. Did you hear that squeak? That's that baby. Exactly, Pookie. The grass is big. The grass is longer than the baby. The little thing, when I said to you guys that there's a tiny baby in here, I second guessed myself once we got closer, because it looked as if I hadn't actually seen a baby. But then I just had to look very close to the grass, and there the baby was. I was just waiting for them to get a little bit more distance before we start to follow. So I was hoping there would be a gap further in, because they're moving quite quickly now. I'm gonna just turn in here, and then we should see them through the gap. If not, we always have this very kind elephant. The one in front of us knows a good thing when it smells it. Off to Buffelshoek Dam. Mum here needs to eat as much as possible. She has to produce some milk for the baby. Baby who is well and truly hidden by all the bush. Where are you? Oh, there you are, moving a little bit. Just by Mum's legs. Tiny thing, come out here so everyone can see your cuteness. There we go. Out Mum comes. I hope they pop out into this little open spot. That tiny, tiny baby is the cutest, and it's got its ears wide open. Only problem is we can only see it when the bush is wide open. Because it is so small, it's hidden by everything. Not this one. I wonder if this is a mum with 3 generations. There it comes, barreling through. Oh my goodness, so much happening. This baby still has to learn the wise, slow ways of the elephant. Oh, that's a little calm. Oh no, we're off again. I can't get enough of this baby Ellie. Okay, we'll move forward one more time. There's gaps every now and then, so hopefully we'll be able to see it again. So cute. We're seeing quite a few animals that have had the equivalent of us having too much coffee this morning. This is the elephant version of the spoonbill we saw this morning. I agree, Nadine, this baby is too young for coffee. I can't even see it. I can't see. Oh, there it comes. Let's switch off here. Oh, it looks like a bullet. Bam! Oh no, it's so cute. If that doesn't put a smile on your face, I'm not sure what I can do. And I love how Mom's just like, yep, this is what I have to deal with. Just carrying on as usual. What else can you do? All right, baby, come out in the open. Where are you gonna come from? There, from the top. They've been so good about us following them. Sorry, that was my Game Drive radio, just turning it down. Nakey, you say thanks for a relaxing start to the day. Our pleasure. We love having all of you on board. And we love being able to share the beauty of our wildlife with all of you. We'll just go around this bend and then we'll stop. Oh, that's not a bend for us, it's just a bend for them. And we'll have some final looks at these ellies before we say goodbye. And then we can go and have some breakfast. I think this might be as good as we get for now. Still at it. What on earth are you going to do when you get to the water? You're going to put your face right into the water, aren't you? I mean, it doesn't look newborn. It's still very young, though. It's at least a couple months old. But it doesn't have that newborn skinniness and lankiness. And with that amount of energy, definitely a couple months old. But maybe this is a new section for the elephant. Maybe this is just all special, and it's investigating everything. And Nadine, I think you're very right. It's nap time soon. Very soon that baby is going to just collapse, be done with life. We only have a few seconds left. Don't think we're going to be able to catch up with the elephants. Maybe they'll pop out just a little bit through the bush as they're moving. That would be really, really nice. They're moving more into the bush, though, or more into the block, as opposed to like alongside the road. I bet they're probably going to head down into that drainage, snack a little bit, and then come up for a drink at Buffelshoek Dam. Then, after a drink, that baby is going to hit the grass. Nap time. Anyway, everyone, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again in the afternoon. Bye for now.